The exercises that you often see at the end of an upper body workout, like external rotations and certain types of raises, are in a category that we can call remedial exercises. I realize full well that these particular lifts aren't as glamorous as something like a bench press or a deadlift, but they're included for good reason, and they're very important. To understand why, you should know that our muscles are supposed to be balanced. And there's a lot we can learn about where you can improve based on how certain lifts compare to one another. The ratios between different exercises can tell you what's lagging behind. So how your bench press compares to your overhead press or your chin-up, for example, and how your front squat compares to your back squat can tell you where there's some fertile ground for improvement. One of the ratios that I think is among the more important ones is the ratio between your bench press and an external shoulder rotation. There's quite a bit of data taken from healthy, strong, injury-free athletes that shows that for your shoulders to be stable, well-balanced, and healthy, you should be able to take about 10% of your 1 rep max bench press and do 8 repetitions of an external rotation, a particular version of an external rotation where your elbow is positioned on your knee. So if you can bench press 300 pounds, you should be able to do 30 pounds for 8 reps on this external rotation exercise. That's the ideal ratio, but in my experience, it's quite rare to find somebody who meets this ratio when starting a training program. What this tells us is that your rotator cuff is underpowered relative to the primary movers. For one thing, this is risky. When the muscles that you have to create stability are comparatively weak, you're more susceptible to injury. I realize that for some of you that may not be the most compelling argument, even though it probably should be, but here's another reason why it's worth addressing. If your remedial lifts are lagging behind, you effectively cap how much strength you can gain with the big, sexy lifts. Or to put it another way, if you want to improve your bench press, your shoulders have to be strong and stable enough to support that improvement. I'll use myself as an example. One time, I programmed a 12-week set of workouts for myself with no traditional bench press in it, but a good healthy dose of remedial exercises like external rotations and abduction exercises. By the time I was done, my bench press had gone up 25 pounds. Not bad for doing zero bench press, wouldn't you say? I'm going to grossly oversimplify here, but the reason for this is that your body would really prefer not to be injured, and it's learned to avoid certain things that are more likely to cause an injury. If you have an obvious weak link in a compound exercise like a bench press, your nervous system will inhibit the amount of force that you can produce to keep you from doing something that might result in an injury. As soon as that weak link becomes no longer weak, that limit on force production can be removed and you can get stronger. That's why you can expect a robust dose of this family of exercises going forward. They help keep you healthy and they boost the performance of the exercises that get the most attention. We include them for good reason, and may they serve you well in your workouts.